as we're going to have a couple of teams of athletes very closely associated with one another. Daga, we saw last night, if you watched us, at the Future Legends card, and his tag team partner, one of the timeless pillars of the lucha culture, of course, Negro Navarro.
Yes, there's no doubt about it. He was part of the famous Misionarios de Muerte and Toreo Cuatro Caminos in Mexico. He was a very, very strong heel, rough and tough, still knows how to hurt you. And then, of course, Daga was probably one of my favorite wrestlers right now in the world. Dynamite Kid copy, just as strong and stiff and hardcore. It's going to be fun.
De Guadalajara, Jalisco, tapatío 100%. Y el otro, sin duda alguna, el chilango favorito de la lucha libre. Señoras y señores, recibimos al Ángel Blanco Jr. y Fuerza Guerrera.
The name Ángel Blanco Jr., the original Ángel Blanco, who was partners with the original Dr. Wagner in the 70s and 80s, and of course Fuerza Guerrera, who was one of the pioneers. Of course, he was a famous star in the Arena Mexico in the late 80s and early 90s, but he was one of the first ever superstars to help join and create AAA. And of course, he's the father of Juventud Guerrera.
Absolutely. Fuerza Guerrera, a 41-year pro, that name inspired by a tribute to the Aztec warriors. And certainly he has more than carved his own reputation throughout the decades. And I talked about...
Señoras y señores, lucharán a ganar una sola caída y sin límite de tiempo. Apareciendo en la primera esquina, el 4x4 de la lucha libre, el padre del Strong Style, integrante de la rebelión original próximamente en Japón. Con ustedes, Daga. El luchador rudo con mayor estilo y con mayor técnica que tiene el territorio mexicano. Todos lo recordamos con los misioneros de la muerte, Toreo de Cuatro Caminos, en la Plaza de Toros Monumental Monterrey, en grandes épocas contra los cadetes del espacio, y hoy en día sigue esa historia. Es un gusto recibir en la Expo Lucha en Las Vegas, Nevada, al maestro Negro Navarro. Guadalajara, Jalisco lo vio crecer. Las tortas ahogadas es su alimento favorito. Sucesor de una gran leyenda mexicana. Hoy, con esta indumentaria original que lo identifica, Ángel Blanco Jr.
From Guadalajara, Jalisco, Vampiro's hometown as of today.
De los 90 y hoy en día, el hombre que algún día nos va a regalar la máscara de octagón, sí o sí. El Mosco de la Merced original, con ustedes, Fuerza Guerrera.
His most famous feud would be with the original idol in Lucha Libre from the 80s and 90s, Octagon.
Ah. Now, from what I understand, one of the reasons this tag team match is taking place, Negro Navarro, a major hand in Daga's training and inspiration to him. Meanwhile, Angel Blanco's father, I believe, was one of Fuerza Guerrera's trainers.
Yes, and yes. You did your homework.
I tried.
Yeah, you did. You know what? You get a cookie.
Sweet. Well, we see that Negro and Daga are trying to quickly start this matchup. Angel Blanco hiding behind the referee you've been critical of all weekend.
Yeah, I think that they have a relationship that goes beyond the ring. I'm just speculating, though, of course.
Is that because of this visual?
Yes.
Okay.
Old school. He's got the shooter boots on, as we like to call them. Amateur wrestlers, we call them shooters because they would shoot in on you and break your bones. And the shoes, the amateur wrestling shoes, which is not very common in that generation, the older generation of Mexico. It's So when we see a guy like with those boots on, we know, man, better show some respect. He's going to take you down, hook you, and put some pain into your life.
And Angel Blanco, it looked like he was motioning that he didn't want a piece of negro at that point. He wanted daga.
Yeah, he's trying to think that maybe with his experience, Daga's newer to the game, but he's got to understand Daga right now is on top of the world. So be careful what you ask for.
And if Daga studied under someone like Negro Navarro, you know he's got that base, you know he's got that knowledge in his own right.
Believe me, Negro Navarro will teach you how to do one thing and one thing only, and that's leave people in pain. He likes to hurt people. That's his deal. So you got to understand that Daga learned from the best of the best, right? I'm not talking hardcore. I'm talking grab an armbar and twist it till the eyes pop out.
I think to the U.S.-based fans, maybe a best comparison might be a Stu Hart.
Yes, Stu Hart, sure, but I'm going to stick with Dynamite Kid. Billy Robinson, geez.
Well, just
William
referring to Stu as far as how many ways he can hurt you, how many holds.
Yeah, Lou Fez, let's go. But, let's talk about somebody who's people are going to know, right? Vampiro's kind of old, so Lou Fez is a little bit before most people's times.
That's okay. Lou Fez is a timeless athlete in his own right. But Daga, I think you look at, and he's one of the most complete performers anywhere on this card. He can do just about anything.
Yeah, what you notice about Daga is he didn't just learn how to do backflips and go to gymnastics class. He actually has a wrestling base. He's ground-based. He's strong. He's solid. He's comfortable in the ring. He doesn't get lost. He's in shape. So, yeah, there's no doubt.
And Daga holding his own here with Angel Blanco. Great back and forth exchange. A stark contrast to the element we saw Daga in last night. When was he and Filthy Tom Lawler against LAX, Santana and Ortiz. Fuerza Guerrera gets involved as soon as he saw Daga's back turned, and that raised the ire of Negro Navarro.
Yeah, there's no doubt, right? But what you're noticing, and you asked me last night, and I said, to be a pro or to be considered an international star, you need to be able to hang and adapt on the spot. Last night we saw Daga do a completely different style. Today we're seeing him go hold for hold. And I love it to see him slow things down and not be afraid. He's not uncomfortable in that scenario.
Well, you can see that the tentative nature, the hesitation that both men utilize going into competing with one another, certainly a sign of respect. You don't want to make any type of a mistake. You make one mistake in this match, you're done for. Shoulders down for two.
Yeah. But that's true in any pro wrestling match, right? You make one mistake and it's lights out.
As long as the opponent knows how to capitalize, for sure. Look, I'll check out that. There's that Dynamite Kid-like agility that you enjoy so much.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if he's going to turn it up, and I'm hoping to see one more snap suplex out of him before the weekend's over.
And Angel Blanco Jr., just based on his body language, I don't think expected this kind of offense out of Daga.
No, and Angel Blanco, what you're seeing, there's a guy that's like a time capsule. His style is very, very 1970s, 1980s lucha libre. They wrestle. As you've noticed, nobody's hit the ropes yet.
That's true. Monkey flip. Angel practically lands on his feet, back up quickly. Daga another takedown. Man, this is like a live-action education lesson for Daga. Now, Fuerza Guerrera gets involved. And Negro Navarro again is going to give chase. Navarro getting in Fuerza's face, and wait a second, Blanco's got Navarro double team on the apron. Daga won't let that happen.
No, and Negro Navarro, he's ready to go.
He's fearless.
He wants to hurt someone. You know who he looks like?
Who's that?
He looks exactly like Steve Williams. Just that amateur wrestler look and thickness,
Oh, yeah. And we're back to Blanco and Daga, square one. No one's really budged here.
Yeah, the flexing the biceps thing that you did 17 times before this moment was enough to let me know that you're a strong guy. Focus on trying to win the match. Maybe I'm crazy.
Still very well put together. I understand why I'd be proud of his body. Oh, gosh, Fuerza tried to cause a diversion. He got popped for it, but it allows Blanco to come in from the blind side, and Negro Navarro's upset again.
Yep.
Negro just doesn't care. He's daring Fuerza Guerrero to hit him as hard as he can.
He's saying, come on, man, that's it.
And Negro's one of those guys who, he's looked at as one of the best. Maestro de maestro, when you look at some of the best teachers.
Yeah, right now, that's, he learned from a school that doesn't exist anymore, so he's one of the last of that breed, right? So if you have the opportunity to learn with somebody like him, you best believe that that's like getting your black belt, you know what I mean? There's no one else.
Yeah. And you talked earlier about Negro's Los Misionarios de la Muerte. If I'm correct, helped popularize and trios matches throughout the 1980s and really revitalize that particular genre.
Yes, 100%. That kind of started with there were so many guys in the company that not everybody could get work, so they formed that new division and put 6 guys in the ring instead of 4. And those guys, the Misionarios, boy, oh boy, if you saw your name on the program against them, you didn't want to go to work that day. You did everything you could to make it stretch out because you were going to get a beating.
Negro is daring Blanco to hit him as hard as possible. To speak to the toughness of Negro Navarro, who, by the way, is a 43-year pro, debut 1975. From what I understand in my research, just a year ago, Negro in his travels went one-on-one with Zack Sabre Jr., considered by many the best technical wrestler in the world today.
I'm sure Zack got schooled.
I'm sure he did.
I mean, I think it's a death sentence when you call yourself or somebody calls you the best in the world, because there are guys that are under rocks and hiding behind trees that you haven't even heard of. They're going to come in there and really tie you into a pretzel. You know what I'm saying?
We got a lot of miscues here between Blanco and Fuerza Guerrero. Now Blanco's complaining he was hit below the belt. Is the official going to disqualify Negro Navarro and declare Blanco y Fuerza the winners?
Here we go.
I think Negro's just angry again. He didn't even touch him, did he?
Exactly. And the referee says, look, man, I ain't falling for that. You did it one too many times, and now I can actually see that you're not cool at all, brother.
You're not cool at all. Fuerza Guerrero, who certainly we touched on his history, made a mark in every major wrestling organization he's ever been in. Daga opposing him now. This is the first time we've seen Daga and Fuerza one-on-one as illegal men.
Ooh. And Daga is not giving too much of a care to the fact of respect. He's like, hey, we're going to fight, dude.
Hey, if I'm Daga, I'm thinking survival right now. He's in there with how many decades of experience across the ring from him. He's got his trainer watching every move. That's got to be added pressure. Daga's coming in with, from a personal standpoint, this may be one of the biggest matches of his life.
There's no doubt, especially if you're with your teacher right behind you.
Oh, yeah. Blanco getting all riled up now, just flailing away.
You got to give it to the heels, too, right? The team of Angel Blanco and Fuerza Guerrera, they're getting bumped around the place, and they're moving the best they can, and it just looks awesome. You couldn't tell. He's got 40 million years in the business, you know what I mean? He just looks like somebody's in there loving what he does.
Hurricane Rana by Daga. Missed the corner charge. Blanco walks away, tries to follow through. Nothing doing. Look out.
Big bump to the floor, and Daga is one to fly.
And one to connect as well. You could hear the smack of flesh on flesh.
No doubt. That was a thud and a half.
Oh, Negro in there. Has Fuerza trapped. And that's a submission. We talked about that at Yeah They Are style and what it can mean and how dangerous it is. Locks the arms up and it's done.
A very extreme version of the Kimura armbar. He hooked that in. All the pressure was on the forearm, the bone. A little bit of a wrist manipulation. He could have snapped that arm. Believe it or not, that is such an aggressively painful hold. Awesome to see once again.
And it's one of those lessons of the younger talent where you don't have to be flashy, you don't have to be big to get a victory. Sometimes the more subtle movements, if done absolutely correctly, can hurt somebody very badly.
Yes, indeed. And the only time that anybody hit the ropes in this match was when Daga was with Angel Blanco going from corner to corner. Other than that, these guys wrestled.
Yeah. Angel still got that great physique he's proud of.
Yeah, I think we've seen it.
But congratulations to...
He looks great from the shoulders up, but then when we pan out...
Congratulations to teacher and student, to mentor and apprentice, Negro Navarro and Daga. I'm sure Daga made his trainer very, very proud here tonight, as he does in all of his travels throughout the Lucha universe.
Yeah, and you know what? Who cares about the victory? If you're Daga, if you're me, if you're you, or anybody, to get in the ring with Lucha royalty,